There's a map hidden within you, not drawn in ink or carved in stone, but written in light. You were born with it, but you forgot it. Every dream, every emotion, every strange pull of intuition is a fragment of that map trying to be remembered. The map of what you truly are. The map of your multidimensional self. Pause. You think you are only what you see in the mirror. A body, a face, a name. But that's not the whole truth. That's only the surface of a much larger being, a vast architecture of consciousness that extends beyond the limits of sight, beyond time, beyond the thin walls of the physical world, and somewhere deep inside. You already know this. You felt it in those moments when life seems to whisper through coincidence. When time slows down, when you feel connected to something greater, even if you can't explain why, that's the map calling you. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in feeling, in intuition, in sudden understanding that seems to appear from nowhere. And if you follow it, truly follow it, it will show you who you are beyond this single life. When I was younger, I used to believe reality was simple. One world. One self. One story that began at birth and ended at death. But one night changed everything. It was late. I couldn't sleep. There was a heaviness in the air, that strange stillness that feels like the world is holding its breath. I remember staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of my own heartbeat, and then something happened. It wasn't a dream, and it wasn't a vision. It was as if the walls of my mind thinned, and for the first time, I could feel the layers of myself. Not thoughts, not imagination. Layers one within another, stretching outward like ripples in a vast ocean of light. I saw versions of me, not copies, not reflections, but extensions. Each one living a different story. Each one learning something that the others couldn't. And in that strange, infinite expanse, I understood something so simple, yet so overwhelming. We are not singular. We are networks of consciousness, connected, intertwined, learning together through countless forms of experience. That's what the map reveals. Not just who you are, but who you've always been. But as I came back to myself, the vision faded. Like fog melting under sunlight. And for a long time, I tried to convince myself it wasn't real, but the memory wouldn't leave. It stayed behind my thoughts like a faint hum. It's reminding me that the world I see is only one layer of a much larger design. So I began to search. Not outside, but within. And slowly, I began to sense it again. The multidimensional self. Not as something mystical, but as something natural. Something that had always been there, waiting for attention, waiting for remembrance. You see, your consciousness isn't confined to one plane of awareness. It's like a prism, light entering one side, splitting into infinite colors. Each color is an aspect of you, experiencing a different shade of existence. You're here in this life, in this moment, but parts of you exist in other frequencies of reality, learning, observing, creating balance between all versions of yourself and the forgotten map. It's the thread that connects them all. It's the subtle knowing that moves through you when you feel. Déjà vu, when you meet someone for the first time but already know them. It's the pull toward certain places, certain moments, certain choices, because deep inside, another aspect of you remembers. The map isn't about travel through space. It's about resonance, aligning with the frequencies that already exist within your greater being. Sometimes you catch glimpses of it. When you're lost in music and feel yourself dissolve into sound. When you dream so vividly that waking up feels like leaving another reality behind. When you sense an unseen intelligence guiding your steps, timing things with perfect precision. That's the map working in silence. That's your higher architecture communicating across dimensions. And the strange thing is, the more you trust it, the more it reveals. I used to believe intuition was random. That gut feeling was just the brain guessing. But it isn't. It's memory, not from this self, but from the others. Every version of you is learning something essential. And that information flows between them like a current of invisible light. Sometimes it arrives as a dream. Sometimes as a sudden knowing. sometimes as a feeling that makes no logical sense, but still pulls you toward what's meant for you. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet nudge that whispers this way, and when you ignore it, life seems to fall out of rhythm, like you've stepped off your true path without realizing it. That's because the map doesn't shout. It hums. It waits for silence to be heard, and when you finally start listening, the map begins to unfold, not as a picture, but as a feeling. You begin to realize that the world around you responds to your inner frequency, that thoughts are not contained in your head, but ripple through the field of existence. Shaping what appears before you, you start to sense that everything you experience, every person you meet, every obstacle, every chance encounter, is a message from another layer of yourself. Reality becomes less like a stage, and more like a mirror, reflecting your inner architecture back at you, showing you the places where you've forgotten your own design. The forgotten map of the multidimensional self isn't about escaping this world. It's about seeing it differently. It's about remembering that you're not walking through random chaos, but through a perfectly synchronized dance between all your layers of being. And once you remember that, you begin to walk differently, slower, more aware, more in tune with that hum beneath your thoughts. You start to realize that you're not finding your path, you're remembering it, because the map has been inside you all along. Asterisk. Sometimes I imagine what the world must look like from the perspective of the map itself, watching. Billions of fragments of consciousness trying to remember. They are one. It must be like watching. Waves argue about which one is the ocean, each believing it ends at its crest, each unaware that they rise and fall from the same unseen depth. That's what forgetting does. It makes you believe you're separate. Separate from others? Separate from the universe. Separate from the very intelligence that breathes through you. And yet, even in our deepest sleep, the map keeps calling. Through pain, through synchronicity, through the gentle ache that says, there's something more than this. I remember a moment years after that first experience, when I was sitting alone by the ocean. The sky was a dull gray. It's the kind of color that swallows the horizon so completely, you can't tell where the water ends and the sky begins. I watched the waves rise and fall, each one dissolving back into the whole. And it struck me, that's what we are. Each life is a wave. It's temporary, individual in appearance, but made of the same substance as everything else. And as that thought deepened, I felt something shift inside me, a faint vibration, like a door unlocking in my chest. It wasn't peace exactly. It was remembrance. A quiet knowing that the self I cling to is just a point of view within something much larger. And in that stillness, the map reappeared. Not as light this time, but as feeling. A living current of awareness connecting everything. Asterisk, every moment you pause long enough to listen, you can feel it too. That subtle hum beneath existence. It's there when you stop rushing. It's there between thoughts. It's there in the space after an exhale. When the mind grows silent and consciousness begins to expand again, that's when the map speaks. Not in words, in symbols, in sensations, in an inexplicable knowing that bypasses logic, and if you learn to trust it, it begins to guide you, not toward comfort, but toward expansion, because the map doesn't care about success or failure. It cares about growth. It leads you exactly where your consciousness needs to go to evolve into its next form. Sometimes that means losing something you thought you needed. Sometimes it means being forced to confront parts of yourself you've tried to bury. And sometimes it means standing on the edge of uncertainty, with nothing but intuition to guide you. But every step, even the painful ones, is a coordinate on that. Forgotten map, asterisk. There's a secret the ancients understood, one that modern minds are only beginning to rediscover, that the universe itself is conscious. It isn't out there. You are inside it, and it is inside you. Every particle, every vibration, every flicker of awareness is part of one continuous field, and that field remembers everything. It remembers who you are, who you've been, and who you are becoming. That's why certain places feel familiar, Why certain people feel magnetic. Why certain choices feel destined. You are following paths your greater self already knows. You're walking through memories of possibilities you've already lived in other layers of being, and every time you align with your deeper truth, you activate another section of the map. For most of us, the map starts as a whisper, then a pattern, then a series of events too precise to be random. You might notice it when you think of someone and they call, or when you take a wrong turn that leads to exactly the right place, or when you feel something pulling you toward a decision you can't logically justify. That's how the multidimensional self communicates. Through synchronicity, through resonance, through what some call divine timing, though there's nothing external controlling it. It's simply you guiding yourself from another level of awareness, and when you finally start to recognize the pattern, you realize that the entire universe is alive with meaning, that every moment is a message, that reality itself is intelligent. We live inside a language of symbols. Light, sound, thought, emotion, all of it is communication. The universe speaks in frequencies, and when your vibration matches the message, you understand it not with your mind, but with your being. That's why meditation, stillness, even heartbreak, all of it opens portals in perception. It quiets the noise long enough for the deeper signal to come through, and when it does, you begin to see life not as a sequence of random events, but as a conversation between yourselves, the human self, the higher self, and everything in between. You begin to realize that what we call intuition is simply a message from another dimension of you. What we call creativity is a translation of energy from your higher field into human language. What we call destiny is a pattern already written in the luminous blueprint of your consciousness. And suddenly, life stops being something that happens to you. It becomes something you are co-creating with every breath. That's the power of remembering the map. Asterisk, at some point on this journey, you stop searching for the map and start becoming it. The lines that once seemed separate, mind, body, spirit, time, begin to blur. You start to feel life moving through you instead of you moving through life. It's not enlightenment. It's remembrance. A subtle but powerful shift from effort to flow. You realize that you've never truly been lost, only distracted. Because the map has always been updating itself through every choice you make, every lesson you learn, every emotion you allow yourself to feel. It's alive. It's just like you. One of the most difficult truths to accept is that every challenge you've faced was placed there by you, not as punishment, but as navigation. Every heartbreak, every failure, every unexpected detour was a coordinate pointing you back toward your greater design. And when you begin to see it that way, the pain loses its sharpness. You start to understand that nothing was ever wasted. Even your mistakes carry intelligence. Even your confusion was guiding you home. Because the map doesn't speak in straight lines. It speaks in spirals. It brings you back to the same lessons from different angles until you see them clearly enough to evolve. And once you do, you stop fighting the flow of life. You begin to trust its rhythm, the pauses, the chaos, the stillness. You begin to understand that the map's language is experience itself. At first, this realization can feel disorienting. You might ask, if everything is connected, if every version of me exists, then who am I now? But that's the beauty of it. You are all of them, the observer and the observed, the dreamer and the dream. Each life is a note in a cosmic chord, and together, they create the song of your consciousness. You are not a single point of awareness. You are the entire melody. And when you understand this, you stop fearing change. Because every change is simply a shift in frequency, a new verse of the same eternal song. Imagine it like this. Every thought you think sends a vibration into the field. Every emotion colors that vibration with intention. And the universe, the infinite reflection of yourself, responds with a pattern that matches it. You experience that matches reality. So when you align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your highest frequency, when you live according to the resonance of truth instead of fear, the entire map rearranges itself to reflect that vibration. Paths open. Synchronicities multiply. People appear at the right time. Doors close that no longer serve you, and others open with effortless precision. That's not magic. That's alignment. That's the multidimensional self communicating with its human reflection, saying yes, this way. And in those moments, you realize that guidance was never external. It was always you calling yourself home. You are both the traveler and the terrain, the cartographer and the compass. You are the map reading itself. I remember the moment that truth fully landed in me. It wasn't in meditation, or under the stars, or in any extraordinary place. It was in the middle of an ordinary day, a grocery line, people rushing, fluorescent lights overhead. I felt a sudden stillness, like everything paused for just a second. And in that stillness, I sensed the entire field of my being expanding outward in every direction. I saw the web of cause and effect, of people and places, of choices and moments, all connecting back to one source. And that source was me, not the small me. Not the one with worries and plans, but the vast awareness behind it all. And for that one instant, I understood what freedom really meant. Freedom isn't escape. It's remembrance. It's knowing that you are the consciousness. Creating the story you thought you were trapped inside. Once you touch that awareness, even for a moment, something inside you changes forever. You begin to live differently. You listen more. You react less. You begin to treat every moment as a message from the deeper layers of your own being. Anger becomes a signal that part of you feels unseen. Joy becomes a reminder that you're aligned. Confusion becomes an invitation to expand beyond what the mind can grasp. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to show me?" That's the mindset of someone walking with the map open. Living by the map doesn't mean you'll avoid pain, but it means you'll see purpose in it. It means that even in uncertainty, you'll feel a quiet knowing beneath the chaos, a pulse that says, "I am exactly where I need to be." Because the multidimensional self doesn't measure progress in achievements or possessions. It measures it in awareness, in how fully you can remain conscious, even when the path gets dark. That's the journey back home, the path of remembering what you already are. And so, the forgotten map isn't something you find. It's something you become aware of again. It's in your heartbeat, in your intuition, in the quiet hum behind your thoughts. It's the thread connecting all lifetimes, all experiences, all versions of you. It's the pulse of the universe itself, echoing through your being, reminding you that there is no separation, no distance. No, out there. Only one infinite consciousness, playing infinite roles, searching endlessly for itself until it finally remembers that it's never lost. And maybe that's what awakening really is. Not a moment of light or revelation, but a gentle remembering, a return, a soft whisper that says, "Welcome back. You never truly left."